right, hello, welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging and Friends. We are here to play Holler, an Appalachian apocalypse for Savage Worlds. We're continuing on the Blasted Beauty plot point campaign. We are around halfway through, give or take. We should be finishing Act 4 tonight, barring craziness. Craziness happened in our Deadlands campaign last week, so who knows? Who knows? Some of the people here were in that game, and that game has, very sad episode last week. Our end, essentially. But we'll see if that I don't think that's going to happen tonight, but who knows? Who knows? Chuck said, just give him dynamite. And I said, well, you are near mine. So it's probably dynamite somewhere.
I'll do it.
And you know what happens? You just, according to, so I didn't tell you this, but like in our Blades in the Dark game that Aaron was running on Garblag, one of the first things we did is we strapped a whole bunch of, speaking of Aaron, there he is. We strapped a whole bunch of like explosives onto some goats and things. So I'm not saying Cletus is on a timer, but Cletus might be on a timer.
Oh, no. Gosh.
All right. Oh, we got a hype train going. Look at that. Thank you, Aaron, for that sub. Appreciate that so much. Let's go ahead and just do our character intros. It's been a while. It's been about 4 weeks since we played. We had to miss our last session, so let's get back into it. Chuck, tell us about Double D.
Oh, Double D. I gotta go latest. I got shot twice. It was bad. My butt still hurts.
It is true. It is true. We had a really big fight last time, and Double D got buried beneath a bunch of bodies. Just
I did.
Pile on pile. And then because Melissa doesn't like Chuck, Melissa didn't heal him the whole session. She's like, screw him. He's going to die. So, I'm sorry. Yeah, I spoke the secret thing out loud, didn't I?
Yeah, that wasn't one of the things. Yeah, that wasn't what I was thinking about until then. I think later in the episode, Jeremy's like, well, and that's what happens when there's no healing. And I was like, oh, crap, that's my job.
Called
I'm a passive-aggressive jerk.
Oh, so funny. I'm like, that's you, Oh, it's okay.
Yeah. That's me. That's me. Yeah.
All right. Next up, we've got the third member of the dog clan to join this troublemaker crew. Probably not the last. We got Doggin. Yeah,
it's Doggin's fault that there was 3 bodies piled up on Double D. So,
sorta. I don't know.
I mean,
Doggin did all right, didn't he?
I knocked all like the 3 of them out pretty much.
Yeah, I'll just start falling on top, and then at the end, I think Joe went around cutting throats. Character Joe,
yeah.
So
then he turned them into bodies. They were sleeping, and then they got turned into bodies.
Yep. I think they were always bodies, but then they became dead bodies.
That was the modifier.
Yeah. What do we need to know about Doggin?
I don't know. I mean, he's lasted for 2 sessions now, so I mean, he might almost be worth knowing anything about. He's basically our alcohol wizard.
Alcohol wizard? I like that. That sounds good. Moonshiner, if you're a Holler fan, he's playing a Moonshiner. Oh yeah. Do you have any concoctions on you? Have you used any concoctions yet in a way that you really like, or like some sort? Because they're basically you're like a spellcaster / alchemist.
Yeah. I actually used all but one of my PowerPoints last session, and I think the one that was probably the most useful was Slumber, since it knocked a whole bunch of people out of combat almost immediately.
Yep. That's very, very useful. And then they cut their throats.
The other one was Blast was pretty good too.
Yeah. Blast is very
good. I got to deal some damage.
Basically throw grenades. It's pretty cool. Or Molotovs or whatever. All right.
I also have Dark Sight and Far Sight and boost or lower traits. So
nice. The boost one's really cool. It's always flexible because you can bump up your allies. You can debuff someone. I always love that's one of my favorites. So you can use it a bunch of different ways. Right on. People, you are really, really kind. All these bits and subs.
I'm not sure if they're kind or they hate us.
I know, so asking for clarification on a few, because I think we're up to like 4.
It can be
I
both.
think
Love
both.
to watch us
I agree.
suffer.
Yes. I think what it is like they're trying to make sure this Holler episode surpasses the craziness of our Deadlands episode last week. So
I don't know if we got enough time for that.
Oh, there's time. 4-hour stream, right? We're good. Yeah. All right. Next up, we got Jeremy. Jeremy, tell us about Cletus.
Hey man, I'm Cletus. I'm Double D's big little brother, and Yeah, man, I'm basically what you call an Appalachian ninja. I'm sneaky as all get out, and I don't know how to do his delta formation, but I know how to do myself a reverse pull up, squeeze a man's head, between my thighs. Got me some powerful glutes.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. There's a lot of fun little moments like that. The delta formation.
I forgot all about it.
I think I put that on the thumbnail for YouTube. It's like, please, delta formation. He just runs away. And then Cletus like lowering down like this snake from a freaking tree. This gigantic obese man somehow sneaking on the tree. I don't know how it works, but it was hilarious. All right, bottom row. We have our healer. We have Louisa Palmer. Melissa, tell us about Louisa.
That is, yeah, she's the holy roller preacher lady who is supposed to pay attention to the health status of those in the group and heal them when they get low. And other times she's like, that looks dangerous over there. I don't know that I want to go over there. And I'm going to do other things until the very, very last minute and things are maybe a little bit safer. And
yeah, that's
pray
fair.
for forgiveness. I think that works for her character.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, you helped him out after the fact, at least. Sorry, I love that Wilhelm scream. So good.
Pretty good.
All right. Next up, we have our cold-blooded murderer, our steely-eyed killer. We got Joe. Bert, tell us about Joe.
That's right. And all I got to say about the matter is, if you don't want your throat slit, and maybe you ought and you mess with me and my friends. Yeah, maybe you ought not.
Yeah,
that's all Joe's got to say on the matter. I'm the mechanic of the group. I keep things running.
Mm-hmm.
You've cold-blooded killer. I mean, I don't know about the cold-blooded killer part. I mean, well, no, I guess that's fair. No, that's fair.
And you have a collection of knives. I think you have a motorcycle waiting to be repaired and
I've got several guns.
Got some guns. Got all the different little trinkets and gadgets and gizmos.
Apparently, Doggin even has one friend.
It's very nice. And then finally, we've got Amian. We have the young kid. Joe, tell us about Amian.
Mm-hmm. I'm playing Amian, who's a bit of a skill monkey and got tons of bennies. And last session, he got a little bit of the fire of revolution in him and tried a lot more combat stuff than he's ever done before. And didn't die, so that worked out.
Yeah, you got up in it. I was listening back a little bit, and you were like up in it. You were rolling around on the ground. You're trying to tackle people. Normally, you just like taunt and everything, but like you're just rolling around, shooting guns and such. It was good. It was great to see that. It's fun. I was unfortunately unable to kill you. So there's that. But I think I did.
But I was unable to like really use a gun though. I don't have shooting, so I just kept failing that. But it was distracting.
Fair enough. If you survive the rest of this act, you will be able to get a new level up, your new advance. So there's always the ability to sort of add in some training.
I definitely think I'm going to go for shooting. Yeah,
right on.
I think that'll make sense.
All right, so let's dive in. It's been a while, so just to give you all a refresher, you are up in Marrow, which is in the Sootstone Mountains. You all can see the Holler map on our Foundry table. So you're in those northeastern mountains there, Sootstone Mountains. You're specifically in the town of Holler, a mining town. You were sent here by LMA, who's kind of like the leader, coordinator of the revolution that you've taken a major part in. After news came down that the Galloway number 3 mine, which is in Marrow, suffered a collapse, and a bunch of miners are trapped, possibly dead, possibly trapped. The Galloways, who are one of the big boys, one of the families that belong to that group, they own the mine, but they have apparently no intention of trying to mount a rescue at all, and they're just kind of saying, we're just going to open another mine, or they're even threatening perhaps even to open up another town and just letting Marrow just die off. So you all decide to head on up. It felt like a good opportunity to win some hearts and minds to your cause and save some folk. You met Doggint, who arrived to help bury the previous member of the dog clan at your Serpent Church hideout. During the trek up to Marrow, you had an incident with this large snake in the silty waters of Big Sandy. And you also encountered the sootstone moth, and some of you had some.
Doggett almost went back to join his family.
Doggett was almost gone like that, but you all survived it. And then you had an encounter with the sootstone moth, which was kind of like a weird thing. Some of you felt like some good vibes. Some of you got some bad vibes. And it is a kind of a notorious cryptid that sort of lingers around this area. Once you got to Marrow, you found that they were holding a vigil outside the mine, where a bunch of families and friends and other miners who weren't on that shift were gathering. Cletus, you met Hetty Marlowe, actually, a wife of a former traveling companion named Davy. And it seems that Davy is one of the trapped miners, and he has a newborn daughter that they've nicknamed Bananas. And whenever you say Bananas, she just goes crazy. And now there's the concern that she might grow up fatherless. You all learned about a group called the Mighty Fists, which is some sort of small organization that's trying to unionize miners, and it's being led by a relatively well-respected individual by the name of Justin Taylor. His romantic partner, Starla Sims, was a friend of Hetty's, and she agreed to take you all to meet Justin Taylor to the hideout for the Mighty Fists. However, while you all were kind of talking around, there were some company folks that were still lingering. There was one specific person named Abner Stokes that you were warned about. They kind of left. They disappeared at one point. And shortly thereafter, after I think Amian was like singing some spirituals with Bastian Bach, who came by. Shortly thereafter, a bunch of representatives from the Kramer Holt Detective Agency and some company guards showed up asking questions. A fight ensued amidst the vigil. People started panicking because there were kids and families, and they were running around as gunshots were being fired here and there. Your group ultimately won out, but it was a fairly close fight. A couple people took some wounds here and there, but you also killed a bunch of members of the Kramer Holt Agency. This is also on the heels of your assassination of Royster Whitaker. And eventually Starla Sims hurried you all away. You went further up the mountain, away from town, and she led you to a rickety cabin that's being used by Justin Taylor and the Mighty Fist as a hideout. And that's where we begin. And she knocks on the door saying, okay, y'all, just hang on one second. There's a special knock. I just got to figure it out. Just got to remember it's shave and a haircut, 2 bits. And so she just knocks on the door. There's the kind of rickety old door. She's waiting around. It's quiet. It's probably, we'll call it early to mid-afternoon at this point, we'll say. And it's more than maybe 30 seconds before eventually you hear a couple footsteps coming around from the inside. The door kind of creaks open, and there you see kind of a young, handsome man. And Starla, oh, Justin! And she throws her arms around his neck, and he's not really looking at her. He's hugging her back, but he's just looking at you all, and he's like, Starla, sweetie, Starla, who the hell are these people, and why you brought them here? Anyone speak up currently? And she's like, oh, she's just like, no, they're fine. They're nice folks.
I mean, we had to go someplace after we killed them company men.
I gotta shout.
I beg your pardon. You killed some company men?
Mm-hmm.
Like 6 or 7 of them.
You killed 6 or 7 company men. Right here?
Well, not right here, but like back there.
Back in town. Hey, we caught that one that was, he was really angry.
Y'all weren't being followed or nothing, were you?
I mean, we followed her.
We can't use that kind of heat right now. We don't want to see. Get on inside. So he quickly kind of like, come on. Y'all come inside, and you can see he's not the only one there. There are other folks, handful of others, probably about a dozen in total. You can see some of whom are like kind of messing around with various gadgets and gizmos. Others are kind of sharpening some tools and knives and things. A few others are looking at what looks like these hastily drawn layouts of the mine, Galloway number 3. And you can see there's a smell of something being cooked, and like there's a pot on this like old iron stove. And you can see there's like some wood burning inside of it. All right. Y'all killed a couple company folk, some Galloways, I imagine. Anyone of note? Any real names? Any fellas?
Whoever was with this Tommy gun.
Tommy gun. Oh my goodness. Okay, well,
Or this is a stack of shotguns.
and you can
He
see
might actually have his name on that there gun. He seems like the kind of fellow that put his name on a gun.
So he seems a little unnerved. He's in his 20s. You would imagine he's not particularly old. And he kind of looks over at y'all and he's like, all right. So who are y'all? Why you don't look familiar. You ain't from Marrow. None of you got the look of miners either.
Oh
Nah.
man, but I know Davey. He's in there, and you know,
You know Davey?
yeah, he's good people. You know, but he's got that little kid now, and like needs to come back.
They kind of a few folks kind of like they exchange some looks like, he knows Davey? How you know Davey?
Well, actually, I did the killing, but we were together one time. There's this school fella, like he was this guard, and then there's the lady. She was kidnapped in the cave, and it was a whole thing.
All right. Wait a second. You're that fella from Burleton, aren't you? That's right. He told me about y'all. You said something about bananas, and then that's where it comes from. The little kid's name's Okay.
Yeah.
That's you, man. Man, you smaller than he said you were. I thought you were, really big fella.
I mean, Davey ain't exactly the biggest fella to begin with, so you kind of do the.
That's true. It's true. He ain't very big at all. But he's one of us, though. He's one of us. He's a good fella. He's a good worker, family man, and he's, on the righteous path. We trying to do things right here. And he wasn't even supposed to be working then. He was. You can see this one, as he mentioned, that's just one other person kind of in the corner. You can see they kind of look down. And you can see like they've been kind of crying, like maybe you get the feeling that they switched shifts or something with Davey for no particular, for reasons, but just accident, Listen, so, I mean, I don't know what y'all know about us, but we ain't too big and we ain't too strong and everything, but what we've been trying to do is we've been trying to, get people together, unionize, multiracial. We ain't saying no to nobody, we want everyone on the same page here. Kind of getting just damn well sick and tired of the frickin' Galloways telling us what we can't do, not providing us any kind of support when stuff like this happens. And this ain't the only time that something like this happened. This is serious, more serious than all the others, but there's been other problems, bad equipment here and there, ain't repairing it, ain't giving us any of the new stuff. And whenever we do complain, then, well, they threaten to take away our script and this and that. So we, we try and coordinate, unionize, that kind of thing. But throw those types of words around, some people get scared, Some people get scared. They ain't quite ready. But anyway, this ain't the time for that. We got to get them fellas out of there. And we've been trying to work on some sort of plan. So if you all here to help, we're glad to have it.
I love you.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the plan.
Any way we can.
That's why we traveled here, to try to help you out best we can. Sometimes our methods bring a little more attention than we might have originally planned for, but we do try to help.
Yeah, killing does that.
While everybody's making pleasantries, I'll just say, I'm hungry. You got any food?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we got some right on. Go ahead on over there, man. Help yourself. It ain't nothing special, just some beans and some vegetables and such. But it's good enough. So if y'all here to help, then, well, that's good to know.
Yeah, man, that's my kind. This sweet lady here saying you got a line possibly on there's a place we're going to try and get our hands on some equipment, because you could have all the muscle in the world, but it ain't going to do no good.
That's true. Any of y'all, like I said, none of y'all got the look, but any of y'all spend any time in the mine?
I was there a little bit, just a little bit. And my Rosa died, and I got at it.
Yeah,
My
that's
daddy
probably a
worked in
good
the mine.
decision.
He's dead now.
Well,
Many, many, many years ago.
sorry to hear about your daddy. Very sorry.
But Joe over there, man, he's a whiz with anything mechanical.
Oh, yeah? Well, that's good to know. That's good to know. There's some machinery over there, and one of them requisition yards. The Umberkirks got set up around here and everything, but they holding a bunch of machinery over there. Now, it's a drilling machine that, well, if we could get our hands on it and someone could figure out how to run it, and few of us, most of us do the hard labor. We don't necessarily play with one of the machinery, but folk like yourself there, Joe, is it? You might be able to figure out how to use it. Yeah, Joe, that's right, the one eating his daddy. Well, the problem is that it's guarded. It's in one of them yards, and there are plenty of company guards around. There might be more now that they know that there's a threat around here. They already kind of put a hell of a number of folk up there watching it, because a few of us got in a bit of a shouting match with some of the Galloway folk. Begged them, asked nicely at first, and then when they said no, then we started yelling, and words of anger were spoken and shouted. And then last time we scouted, well, there were twice as many guards on that place as there were before those angry words were spoken. And now it ain't just words that were spoken, but it's blood that's been spilt, and I don't know how many are going to be there now.
When was the last time you scouted?
No, that's this morning, just before dawn.
There's somewhere else that we were looking at getting stuff from. There wasn't there like a junkyard or something too?
That's what he's talking about.
Okay, that's what he's talking about. Okay.
Yeah, it's a drilling machine. Now, they don't really let us normal folk, us regular folk, run it. Whenever they want to kind of open up new seams and whatnot, they bring out one of them Umberkirk Technomancer Jiggo sons of bitches. They come out and they kind of run the thing for a while, open up a few seams, and we get back to doing it the old-fashioned way. So, but like you said, Joe here's a whiz with machines. Well, that's shouldn't be so difficult.
I do actually have all the faith in the world at Joe's abilities, but what tends to be the siding of those Umberkirk folks? Are they company men through and through, or might there be one of those?
Well, they're Umberkirk, so yes, ma'am. Yes, they are.
None of them that we might be able to see the humanity of the situation and provide some.
Yeah. Waiting on one of the big boy families to see humanity is it's probably a long wait for something that ain't gonna come. But
understood.
And plus, I'm sorry, go right on ahead. Is Cletus?
Yeah, do they wear any sort of fancy uniform or anything?
Well, I mean, company guards do, sure, yeah.
No, them fancy like techno boys.
Well, they ain't there. That is the one good thing we can confirm.
I know. But what if, I'm not saying one isn't going to show up, but what if one wasn't, but was? I mean to say, well, if we put a disguise on Joe here, and I'm imagining, and I bet when somebody real important like that shows up, everybody else gets all nervous, like whenever the boss shows up, and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I think that's a crafty idea. I mean, you got to clean them on up.
People question mechanics. I mean, you got a wrench in your hand, you know what you're doing. Most people just don't ask.
Yeah, they're gonna ask if you're going into that yard, though. You gotta look the part too. You gotta look all fancy like. Because if you just look like, and I mean no disrespect here, if you look like the way you look now, they're gonna take one whiff of you, and I mean that literally, and they're gonna be like, you ain't belong here. I mean, gotta be clean, clothes gotta be clean. Gotta be speaking the proper English, that kind of thing. But it can be done, maybe. I don't think we got any of them get-ups around here. I mean, that's not really been our MO, to be honest. But
I don't speak good. I've
never seen a clean mechanic. That's fascinating.
Well, no, I mean, it ain't the mechanic going in. He was talking about one of them. You were talking about one of them Umberkirk fellas, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mechanic ain't the word I would use for them. They something different. They got brains ways. They what are them things called?
An operator, not so much a mechanic.
So you're saying that they need to seem a little bit off?
Maybe. It wouldn't hurt, I'm sure. I ain't never really had like a lengthy conversation with them. I seen them from afar, but they dressed up all nice with clothes from the city. They got little gadgets and gizmos here and there, spectacles and thing, lets them see in nice and close. If y'all got any of that kind of stuff, well, I'm sure one of y'all could well, I don't know if one of y'all could pass by it. I'm gonna be honest. Kind of looks at Cletus as Cletus is like fixing his like torn overalls and stuff. Oh boy.
I mean, option 2. You got dynamite.
Louisa, so this has never come into play so far in the previous episodes, but Louisa has sewing needles in her bag. So maybe if we've got some
we can fancy some stuff up a bit.
I can kind of
like
I'm picturing like
maybe we can get some little odds and ends from people in the town and mix some stuff up.
I don't know if anybody else remembers, but like it's like a 70s, 80s thing where you sort of had like the collar thing, but it like kind of tucked under something. So it kind of looked like it was a shirt under like a sweater, but it was only like a little fake little thing. So like something like that where it's like, I'm not taking the time to make up a whole shirt, but I'm like throwing a collar under something else that like makes it look better than it is.
It's just a collar with enough to look like shirt.
Yes, that's exactly it.
Amazing.
Well, if that's what y'all want to do, I mean, we'll support you however we can. For sure, we might appreciate the assistance here. It ain't been easy, you know. Well, we were just gonna.
I even got like a little store we can run them too if we do this. You know, you're getting ready to move it because you hear it's getting ready to come under attack. If he gets through, let him go for a little bit. Maybe we start making some noise somewhere else. Might encourage them to let him on through.
All right. So if you guys want to do this, I feel like maybe a dramatic task makes sense. This is going to be like a complex kind of series of events for everyone's kind of doing some things. He will impress upon you that there is a timer to this situation here. Longer we wait, more them boys down in the mine are suffering. I mean, if they survive the collapse to begin with, you know, there's only so much oxygen and down there, and some folks might be injured. And the quicker we can do this, the better. And there's a couple seams to get through too. Ain't just right down in there. Now, the other thing is that machine is something noisy. It's really noisy. So I mean, we've seen it used before, and it just like echoes something fierce. So I mean, it's one of those things where we might want to be careful when we use it. We use it when them folks are around, you know, when they're kind of scoping out the town during the day or something like that. They're liable to come right on up and just see what we're doing. I mean, the mine's right there, right on the edge of Marrow, so got to be sneaky about when we do it, is what I'm saying.
That's when we use dynamite in a sneaky way.
I like it.
Because we know which way they're going to run. They're going to run to the sound. Nobody ever expects the stealthy dynamite.
Cletus, make it a distraction.
You're talking about setting some dynamite off somewhere else.
Yeah, man. Like, make them go run into the noise, then have some dynamite up underneath their feet.
Okay, so let's make this a dramatic task, because the's a lot of little moving parts. What's that?
We're all going to die tonight.
We're all going to die tonight, yeah.
So I mean, sure.
All right, so
I got to rest though, because I'm out of PowerPoints.
Okay, I mean, you can choose to not participate if you don't want to participate in the task to get stuff prepped. It's up to you.
I don't have anything I can really do without PowerPoints.
Okay. Well, I mean, you can still so a dramatic task is basically just a skill challenge. You're just like rolling a skill test of some kind.
Yeah.
You just narrative.
I was wanting to use a boost liver trait to pump some people up, but
you can burn. I think you can submit. You can use a Benny to recover. I think like 5 power points. Is that right, Jeremy?
Can I?
I think so. Yeah.
But boost trait, it doesn't help their skills. It only helps the actual stat.
It says attribute or skill.
Yeah, I mean, trait is the all-purpose term for attribute or skill, I think. I think that's just like the all-purpose. So it is for that too. Okay, so let me go ahead and let's put some structure to this. So we're going to say like, we'll do like maybe, I don't know, let's do 2 rounds, I suppose. We'll do 2 rounds, and we'll say you all need 10 tokens, basically. Each success on a skill roll is a token. Every raise is a token. So if you get a raise, you could potentially get two tokens on your turn, etc. So all we're gonna do is like, you got some people who are working on making up some kind of get up. You got other people who are trying to get dynamite and lay some dynamite down. Others might be trying to like not sneak into, but actually like wear the uniform into the yard. So it sounds like there's a lot of different parts that we can kind of work on. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yep.
All right. So then let's go ahead and get it going. So for dramatic task, we're going to want 10 tokens after 2 rounds. That means everyone's going to go twice. Remember that if you get dealt, because we're using the initiative system, if you get dealt a club, remember that means it's a complication. So if you were to attempt to do something on your turn, you have a -2, and if you fail, the whole dramatic task fails. You can choose not to do anything, though. Other than that, it's, pretty much everything's the same. It's just sort of describe what you're doing. You also can support each other if it makes sense, But fortunately, it looks like no one got dealt a club in the first round here. So we'll start with Double D. So you've got this plan, multifaceted, to try to get the mining equipment.
Yeah.
And then to try to like sneak in, or not sneak in, but kind of bypass them with some sort of whatever. But you also want to get dynamite. You also want to lay dynamite down to make some sort of distraction, whatever it might be. So what is Double D doing here to start us off?
Well, you got dynamite now?
No, you don't have any dynamite. He'll say 2 things. Like, there might be some dynamite in the requisition yard, for sure, where they got that. You could probably find some there. But there is a small... He kind of looks at some of the others, and they kind of nod their head. Well, we got some in town that we have for specific purposes. We're kind of going to collect it and use it if we needed to help get these fellers out. But you know what? We couldn't really get back in town with all them folks. Everyone's kind of looking for us. They know about us. We might be small, but they know about us, and they kind of know what we look like and everything. But if we can kind of tell you where it is, it's in my auntie's house, underneath the floorboards. If you can make it in there without anyone seeing you,
I'm gonna get it.
Okay. So you want to try to sneak into town to Justin's auntie's house and see if you can find the dynamite. So what do you want to roll for this?
I'm gonna roll stealth. I was sneaking, hiding. I've been studying for my little big brother.
Okay.
Sneak in.
Please do. Go for it.
Here you go.
And we have 14 audience boosts. So if you would like a +1 or a +2.
I'm gonna
Melissa,
take.
no one was talking to you? No one was talking
Take +2. Got said.
All right. So you managed to make it into town without much difficulty. You kind of backtrack the way you came, the way that Starla led you, or maybe even Starla helps lead you back so you don't get lost. By the time you get there, it's late afternoon, evening's kind of coming on. You guys are roughly in at maybe 45 minutes to an hour outside of town. So you've done 2 trips down. It's closing in, say 5, 6 o'clock, something like that. And you notice that outside, the vigil has continued. You can see some folks have come back, but there is it's kind of scattered a bit. And not only that, but you notice that there are company guards here that are kind of going around asking questions. You see more of them, Kramer Holt agents and such. And as you kind of get close to the edge of town, you notice that anybody who tries to walk into the town is kind of getting harassed and kind of getting questioned by these folks, as they seem to be looking for some of their own. So you rolled a 7, huh?
Yeah.
All right. I have a ton of complications to work with, but all I'm going to do for now is just kind of roll something. Now, you got your token, no problem. I'm just going to roll a little something. Gonna roll a little something. Okay. So you and Starla kind of come on in, and she kind of points and gives you directions on where you can find Justin's house. She said, I gotta go check in on Hetty, make sure Bananas is doing okay. She ain't doing well by herself. You think you can find your way back okay?
I can do it. No problem.
Okay. All right. So you sneak on in. You kind of follow her instructions. You find the hovel where Justin's auntie lives, and kind of knock on the door first, maybe. No one answers, but eventually you just kind of creep inside, lower your shoulder a bit, start pulling up the floorboards until you find, nestled within a bunch of like these rags wrapping around, there's like 3 sticks of dynamite.
All right.
It's as you're leaving.
Better than nothing. Hey.
It's as you're leaving, as you're getting ready to go back outside. You look outside the door, like kind of outside the window, and you can see that there are a handful of these detectives that are starting to set up flanking positions around the house. And you hear a voice come out and says, you come on out with your hands up, and maybe we let you live, boy.
All right. Hey, yo, man. I see him coming out the front, right? I got my eyes on him.
Yeah, you can see him out the window. You saw like 3 of them. There's like 1 out front and like 2 have kind of split around. You know, they got the house kind of surrounded at this point.
All right. Will this be part 2 of my dramatic task? Is this still part 1?
Well, what we could do is we can hold on. Like we can hold on. We don't have to resolve it right this moment. Let's move on to Cletus. And at any point, if anybody wants to say they also came to town, like that's fine too. There's no problem. You have Delta formation. That's the way to go.
It's the only way.
Cletus just comes running down the street. All right, Cletus, what are you doing in this moment?
Well, I mean, up until that whole thing happened, I had thought I was going to come along with because he might need some help, like quietly getting things up out the house. But, well,
I'm fine with saying you snuck into this. That's fine. You snuck into town too. No problem.
All right. So yeah, well, there we was, couple Appalachian ninjas.
Yep.
Just some good old boys, never mean no harm. Man, I don't know what to do. I'm worried we're just going to repeat the last session at this point. Man.
Maybe you hung out outside?
Yeah, that's... I almost want to repeat the last time.
That's fine.
I think maybe I'm up on the roof.
Okay, sure.
Oh, no.
What do you want to get myself a clothesline and just kind of droop down all nice and quiet like and just garrot the man and pull him up.
All right, go ahead and we'll say roll a stealth test. I already have my notice roll, so I won't re-roll it. So roll your stealth.
I'll take a +2.
Okay. All right.
I love that visual.
Yeah. Just sneaking down. He's like a snake, you know what I mean? Like one of those like tree hoppers or something sneaking down. And let me know how you do, and I have it up if you're rolling digital. An 8? Okay. Good news is that you have successfully stayed away from their sight. At this point, the time it took Double D to kind of rummage around and find it, it had the sun, what little sun you can see up here, has gone down. Very little bit. There's only a very little bit left up kind of over the peaks to the west. But otherwise, it's getting kind of dark. A couple folks have lanterns or candles or stuff, torches around. You can see lights start popping up in the window, so it's a little bit darker. And you manage to sort of sneak on down. And I'll say, for your dramatic task, go ahead and roll an attack. You can roll it with, we'll call it the drop.
Nice.
So you have the drop on this guy out front who's like standing right by the right on the porch, right? And you're kind of leaning down from the porch, and he's like, "Come on, boy, come on now. I know you in there. You come out with your hands up, weapons on the ground. We might let you live."
Now, would you go so far as would you consider using a groat kind of like using unarmed weapons, or?
Yeah, that's fine. I'm not really gonna.
Because what I'd love to do is to use my gouger talent to negate the called shot to his throat to keep him from being able to scream.
It sounds fun.
I'm a good person. Okay, give myself a +4 here.
Okay, yeah, 8 that'll beat their parry. It is not a raise, but you will hook the garrote, and he like, come on out, boy, and he waits a beat, and then
Okay, so basically +4 for the drop, and then normally call shot at the head is 4 damage. Do you want to do just 2 damage for throat or something?
that sounds fair, yeah. And then you get your damage from the drop.
God. 27.
Oh my gosh.
You just tear right through the neck.
No, it's more
decapitate
like
him,
just
or
the neck snaps and I just pull him up.
Hey, like that one scene in Hereditary.
It's very much like that.
You just start to pull him up, and now he's up on the roof with you in the darkness. Double D, I'll say, while you don't see Cletus, you just suddenly see the guy's legs just getting pulled up in front of you, and he disappears on the outside of the porch. You can imagine what probably just happened. Okay. All right. So we'll go ahead and keep it moving. So you two have your own little thing that you're dealing with now. It's all part of the bigger picture. But Louisa, what have you been trying to tackle to try to help out with this situation?
So I'm prepping this little camouflage outfit thingamabob for Joe.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I totally forgot because I am an ill and dying woman. I have raw nerves, which is -2 to anything that involves fine manipulation of the hands, like sewing. So I'm definitely going to take 2 of the audience boost to
Okay, cancel that out. Sure.
That all depends on how big your thread needles are.
They are sewing needles. So...
You're gigantic. It's really huge. Oops. She uses steak knives for needles.
What skill am I rolling for this exactly? Is this like a
Probably. I mean, isn't there a craft skill? Good question. There is not craft. Repair, probably. I think repair is sort of like the craft skill. Why? What do you want to use?
I got nothing.
Faith or something?
Survival?
No.
No, I don't have anything that's really going to work for this.
Repair makes the most sense, but otherwise you can just give me maybe a straight up sort of like agility test, maybe. Just roll agility instead.
Okay, because then at least I wouldn't. Well, what's going to be better? Rolling agility at a d6 or rolling an unskilled? Which is going to take -2.
Hey, good they done bigger die.
Bigger die and take +2 from boost.
So
Well, she's already doing that to cancel out her raw nerves, so.
yeah, because I've got the raw nerves.
Well, give it a roll. It's fine.
All right, so I'm rolling agility. So then agility is just 1d6. No, never.
Well, you always
mind.
you get
Yeah,
you get your
never
wild
mind.
die.
Sorry.
So you're rolling.
It's been a minute. All right.
I mean, it's been a week, but great powers comes greater boost. Nice.
All right, I am going to spend a Benny because I rolled a 3 and a 3.
Okay, those are
So
not passes.
I know. So let's see if I can do this better the next time. I rolled a 3 and a 3 again. I am bleeding all over the cloth that I am trying to make this thing with.
You have certainly sewed something. It is not particularly well stitched together. The seams are very noticeable. You can tell that there are spots where the cloth is sort of folded up on itself, but you still stitched over it. And so there's like these natural ripples in it now. Like you said, you've also kind of pricked yourself a few times with the needle. So there's kind of smudges and blood stains. What you're not going to get a token to advance the dramatic task, but you didn't critically fail. And I will say that it certainly looks like it could pass, but what it's going to do is it's going to give, whenever the time comes where someone's trying to roll to see if they can get past, these guards and then kind of make the guards believe that they're one of these Umberkirk technomancers, there's going to be a penalty, or they're going to get a bonus to sort of determine it, because it's just not a clean look. It's okay.
Do I get anything, by the way, for having sewing needles? Does that help me at all?
I think it just means you can do it. I think it's just the idea you have the tools.
Normally lacking the tools gives you like a
negative. Okay.
A negative.
Okie doke.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's right.
Super useful.
Yeah. We're going over to Joe. So Joe, you had something to eat. You haven't. They haven't acquired the machine yet for you to kind of figure out how to use it. So this is sort of all kind of prep phase. What would you do?
Joe was noodling about making some way to muffle. They were saying this machine makes so much noise, and so he's devising a way to perhaps muffle that sound. Now, I do have the MacGyver.
I love it. Yeah. He's
going to be looking around.
Yeah, they have a variety of like gadgets and mining tools and cloths and tarps and stuff that you might be able to kind of piece something together with. Sure. Repair test, probably.
Yeah. All right. Sounds good. Repair. I think MacGyver doesn't give me any actual bonus. This allows me to do cool stuff. Build cool stuff,
yeah, I don't remember. I gotta look it up.
Oh, well, it's a success.
It's a success.
Not a great one.
All right. So, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing. So it's a regular success?
Regular success.
Okay. So I mean that still accrues a token, so you're still good. It's fine. And so what I'll say is you have come up with something that you can potentially like drape over top of sort of the machinery, the engine of this thing to help mute some of the sound. So just to kind of peel back the curtain, what's going to happen is that when you guys go to use it, like I roll to see whether or not encounters are going to happen, whether somebody hears it. What I'll do is I'll say I'll roll twice and I'll take whichever's better for you. So like meaning it's less likely for them, for something to spawn. Okay, cool. So you and Luis are hanging out. You're in the shack with the mighty fists. Luis is sewing away. Joe, you're kind of piecing together some kind of sort of blanket covering for the machine to help quiet it down some more. And Double D and Cletus went out because they were trying to sneak back into town, the brothers, to sort of get some of that dynamite that you wanted. So what is Dog doing during all of this?
Well, now I'm kind of running out of ideas. Since we're not doing anything yet, I was thinking since it's getting dark, maybe I'll just see about maybe making some dark sight for everybody.
Okay, you just want to try to piece together some of your moonshine stuff?
Yeah, that way, since we're going to be operating in the dark, it seems like we can at least not have that be a disadvantage.
Mm-hmm. You have your own like ingredients and stuff with you. You have your own, kind of tinkering tools and everything. So there are a handful of there's a stream nearby. It's not the cleanest stream in the world. You're up in the sootstones, so it's probably a little messy, but you can get some water decently enough. You can boil it up and try to clean it to some degree. You got some rags and some other kind of herbs and things they've kind of stocked up here and there that might help you. So why don't you go ahead and roll your distillery test?
Let's see here. Oof. That is not so good.
Okay. You can spend bennies to reroll. We still got some of those audience boost if you want to take one of those to help you with your reroll.
We do. +1 or +2.
Yep. We'll go ahead and do one of those and we'll reroll it.
Hey.
Okay. Well, apparently I didn't.
How'd you do?
Didn't need it. So
14.
14 would be a raise. So you'll get whatever the effect is, obviously, of making it, but in terms of the task, that's a raise, which means you're going to get 2 tokens, which I think puts us up to 5. And I forgot that we had 6 people, so I'm looking for 12 tokens in 2 rounds, not 10. Deadlands would be 10.
Makes up for.
And I'm actually going to spend all of my power points so that we can each get 1.
So you have 6 total of these things. Okay, perfect. Mark it down.
And with the raise, it ignores up to 6 points of illumination penalties, and you can see in pitch darkness.
Wonderful. That will definitely help, especially if Justin will definitely encourage you all to try to use it at night more than during the day, because during the day, there's going to be people milling about at all times. Like you saw the vigil. The vigil's right out in front of the mine, so you kind of want to try to do some of it at night. And then it'll also just help you if you go to the requisition yard to try to bypass at night. And then we'll go to Amian. Amian, what have you been doing? And again, you can be anywhere you want. Just say what it is you would be doing in this situation. So if you wanted to say you follow the brothers in, that's fine. If you wanted to stay your back here, that's fine too.
Because I always picture Amian as like being observant and like really nosy and stuff all the time. I feel like he would have been kind of fascinated if he ever saw the Umberkirk people. So I wanted to try and like coach Joe on his like acting and see if I picked up any traits or anything about how the Umberkirk people acted every time I've seen them or interacted with them. Maybe some mannerisms or something that he should try and do to sell it.
It would be unlikely that you interacted with them, but you probably could have observed them at times, especially in like an Ashdown and some of the others. Yeah, for sure. I would say you can, if you want, you could either do this as a notice, or you could do this as like a retroactive notice, like a flashback notice, or like a common knowledge. You could do that too. Either one of those.
Those are both the same for me, so I'll just do notice. Do we have any bonuses left?
Should be.
Yeah, we've got 7 left.
Yeah, I didn't use it, so
7 left. Wow. Okay. I'll take 2. Why not?
So you get +2 on your roll.
Ooh, look at that.
10.
Okay. That's another raise. So that puts you guys up to 7, I think, right now. So you are more than halfway there through the first round. You would know that so like Umberkirks, Galloways, all these names that we're throwing about, these are all kind of big boy names, and they're from the city, right? They're from a place that's not here, that's not in the Holler. And you know that there's sort of an air of sophistication about them, whether it's earned or not. They certainly go, they put on airs. They think they're smarter and better than everybody, and in some cases they are just smarter when it comes to this kind of weird science that they tend to employ. What's that, Joe?
I was going to say, has anyone ever figured out why it is they can come and go but we can't?
There are rumors for why that is. Like they've somehow some kind of ability to bypass the otherness. They can somehow get through it, but regular people can't whenever they try to. The specific details of what that is, no one knows.
Joe just firmly believes that we are all in hell and we're actually dead. That's just what it is.
It's Heller. We're playing Heller.
Actually, just have a little ID badge that just lets them through. That's all.
It's just a scan. It's a retinal scan. So yeah, you would know that mostly it's a case of kind of acting like you're supposed to be there, but also of like taking a certain attitude and a tone. And they don't have the kind of twang that some of the folks from the mountains or the swamps might have. They speak with a bit more sophistication when they talk. They still have a bit of a southern talk, of course, but it's an aristocratic kind of sound to it. It's something like that, and many of those are going to kind of come across more in that regard. So it's kind of playing with your intonations and stuff as well.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I'd be relaying that and like trying to acting coach him on that.
Fantastic. Okay, that's so good. I love seeing, and I'm picturing Joe trying to act it out, and it's just going increasingly awkward. All right, so after the first round, you guys are at 7 as far as you need to go. There are a couple things lingering. Obviously, the getup isn't going to look too great. However, you do have some knowledge about the Umberkirks, and also Double D, Cletus, they're not back yet. So there is some of that concern, like, when are they coming back, that kind of thing. So let's do next round. See what everyone gets. Okay, we have a couple clubs this time. So Cletus, Louisa, and Amian.
I have a lot of clubs this time.
So again, what this means is that you've drawn a complication. There's going to be some, I think we can probably tell what Cletus is going to be. But what this means is that if you choose to do something, you have a -2 on the roll. And if you fail that roll, the whole task fails. The jig is up. Right, so somehow it's gonna find us out. But you can always choose to just not do anything. But what that means is that you're not taking the opportunity to gain more tokens.
And how many rounds do we have to complete this?
I'm doing just 2 because this is our second round because we only play for 2 hours. So there's not so much time.
Right. So
okay.
Is there a delaying your turn in this as well?
No, I don't think you can do that in dramatic.
I was going to ask the same thing. So I was like,
Okay. And it's
okay.
like, man, we're front loaded with clubs.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
If someone knows otherwise, let me know. But otherwise, I don't think you can. Remember that you can support each other in your roles as well, as long as it makes sense. So obviously, like Louisa couldn't really support Cletus and Double D because she's in the in a completely different place. But Double D and Cletus could potentially support one another. However, when you do support like the complication, on someone with a complication, the penalty is still kind of there. So bad things can happen. So Cletus, last we saw you just sort of ripped this guy's neck up and kind of cracked the neck and dragged him up onto the roof. It's getting dark. There are two others, and you hear the sounds of like footsteps as you hear like, hey Hank, where you at? Hank? Hey Jerry Lee, where'd Hank go? And so you can tell that they're kind of looking around, and you can see that they're kind of even looking up at the roof at this point and looking down alleyways and things, and so they're actively searching for you right now. What do you want to do, Cletus?
Man, I know it ain't necessarily the smart thing to do, but I want to see Double D go and get shot again, so I reckon the thing to do is just all quiet, like roll my lard over, try and get Jake once the other fella's kind of turned the other way. They ain't seen me just yet.
Okay.
Slowly, quietly on.
All right, so I'm going to roll. If you're going to go after another one, I'm going to go ahead and give a roll to see if they notice you, so see if you get the drop.
Yeah.
Go ahead and roll stealth as well, so we'll do another contested since it's a different situation.
Is it -2 on this, I assume?
-2, because it's, everything you're going to do on your turn is going to be -2.
Okay.
Because they're a little bit more alert now, I guess, because they're actively looking. That's how we'll flavor it.
Are we against me taking another 2?
Dude, there's so many. Everyone drops so
Okay.
much at the beginning. I still have a couple complications in my back pocket, too.
Yes.
Can't wait. Thank you, Steven. I know you're not there anymore, and you'll never watch this, but thank you anyway.
Actually, that should have been an 11, not a 13.
Okay. 11 will... That's going to be a success. It's actually not going to be a raise because they did roll an 8, but it is still a success. So you see like Jerry Lee's kind of calling out for Hank, and then you got this other fella, who's kind of calling out for both of them, and you kind of roll on over. You see Jerry Lee, whoever you assume Jerry Lee, he's got his, got what looks like some kind of gun out. It looks like you've seen a couple of these guards before, and he's like kind of looking carefully. You see him kind of pushing the shutters of the home open that Double D's in, and he's kind of looking real carefully. He's like, "You did something to old Hank in there. He's gonna hurt you something good." Go ahead and Cletus, do what you got to do, and then describe it.
Well, as he's slowly rolling his form over, at the same time he's uncoiling that there clothesline, just dropping
Gonna
it
hang
down.
another man out to dry.
Except this one's going to be kind of, as the man's like leaning his head in to try and talk to Double D, that's when he kind of gets it just into place, just above his head. So right when he comes back, it slips up and over.
Roll your attack.
All right, I'll do the same thing as before.
You got the drop, so you're good.
So I'll be just +2 because I have a -2.
Yep. Sounds
All
good.
right. 7 hit?
I think it does. I think they have a... Hang on. I think they have a 6, so I think you're okay. Sorry, I closed the sheet. Yeah, you're fine. 7.
Okay. Awesome. Well, then we'll give ourselves +6 on the end of this.
How much damage?
11. I don't know if that's enough.
That is not enough to kill him. So he's...
I will.
But he's still kicking. You can still feel his legs kind of shaking. You can still... He's trying to like kind of reach back at you, smacks a bit here and there. And now he's trying to kind of kick out and make noise. You see him trying to reach out, kind of kick the railing and the shutters and the walls. And he is, in fact, making noise.
Would 2 extra do it?
It's
I don't know.
can't use it now. You gotta do it before you roll.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Nice try.
That's fair.
Sorry,
You'd
I
have
got
to
to
Benny it.
I could Benny that roll. I got a 4 and a 1 on my dice. I'll use a Benny.
Okay.
This is for double D.
Oh dear.
God, come on.
Oh no.
So you haven't failed. You just haven't killed the guy. And so now it's just kind of up to double D, and he's making sounds. And so double
You could have said it when you re-rolled and gotten the extra 2.
Well, I didn't think I could add it to damage. I thought it was just for.
Oh.
That's my bad. I apologize.
Any roll I think is fine. Plus 2 any roll is fine.
Okay.
Okay, so double D, you hear the sound. It's a racket at this point. His legs are kind of flailing about, kicking in, and all that kind of stuff. So it's actually Luis's turn next, but we'll when your turn comes around, something you might want to address. But you can hear someone running now, as if like the jig is up, something bad's happening, and they're probably going to see it. Luisa, you're back in the shack with the mighty fists, with Joe, with Amian. Your hands are kind of bleeding. They've been got these little pricks from the needle. You look down at the getup you've made, and I mean, it's nicer than what most of the people you hang out with wear. I mean, you have a plain but decent looking dress, but the rest of the folk, I mean, especially Cletus and Double D, and I mean, Amian's probably dressed okay, Joe's probably dressed okay, but probably got all sorts of grease stains and such, but it's nicer than what y'all wear. It's nicer than what these mighty fists wear, but is it nice enough?
But I got a really nice hat. Don't forget the hat.
That's true.
That's right.
So, Luisa, you're sitting on a club. What would you like to do?
So the only thing that I am really good at is faith. Like if I want to roll really well, that's my best dice.
Just come up with something that makes sense to use that for.
I'm
I'm open to anything as long as it makes sense.
Smite is not gonna last long enough. Oh, I'm really tempted to. How many more do we need?
So you're sitting at 8 because I think Cletus just got 1, right? Because you didn't get a raise, did you, Jeremy? I don't recall.
No, I
on the
didn't.
attack. On the attack, that's right. Because on the sneak, you got the
Yeah, the 11
versus
wasn't
the 8,
quite enough
right?
because it was an 8.
Okay, so yeah, you're sitting at 8. You need 12. There's still, counting yourself, Louisa, there's still 5 of you to go, but 2 of you are sitting on clubs.
Oh gosh, what could I?
Definitely take one of those bonuses.
I mean, Amian
the
needs
audience
healing.
was very nice tonight.
Can I just make sure that Amian is well healed?
I'm fine with you healing. As a way of advancing the dramatic task. I don't know. I'm not sure if that makes too much sense.
Is there
Would that not count against the dramatic task then if she failed, if it wasn't contributing?
She can roll it. I'm fine. But in terms of like
I mean, I
earning
do
a
still
token
wanna,
from it,
yeah,
I don't know.
I want to contribute somehow if I can. Is there anyone here, part of the group, that needed any healing?
No. However, they will. Okay, if you start talking to them, you start kind of asking a few questions here and there. They'll, it's been a little while since Cletus and Double D have been gone. And although sort of the main strategy has been to, has been to kind of get this mining equipment. You speak to Justin, he's like, there's actually one other thing. I hesitate to mention it because, I mean, a little awkward. Not everyone's going to feel happy, but there is actually one other group around these parts that have, a hell of a lot of reason to hate the old Galloways and such. And I mean, they might be willing to help, but they're also not quite human.
You care to provide a little more details on that?
Well, there's a clan of diggers live up the mountain a little bit yonder, and they got displaced by the Galloways a while ago. when they started mining the Briar Bear Mountain. You ever seen a digger before? Go ahead and roll folklore. This is free.
Sure.
This ain't gonna affect you. Just roll folklore just to see if you would know.
I am not skilled in folklore, so 6.
Okay. So maybe you've heard stories, maybe you've even seen one, who knows? But they are humanoid. They're about 4 feet tall. They got kind of this yellow greenish skin to them, and their eyes are just like all white. And most of them are blind, and they're kind of like echolocators in the dark is kind of the thing. And they have these really big old claws for hands, and they live underground, usually in tunnels or in caves or mines and such like that. Sootstone is a major place, like you'll find them up here. And, they're named diggers for a reason, because they're really good at digging. And kind of trying to get these folks out of the mine is basically what a digger would do. And they're pretty good at it. It's kind of their natural affinity. Some of them can kind of speak, but not a ton. And they have they don't really have these particularly high intelligences or anything like that. But they are, sentient creatures. You can kind of talk with them. They're not the most vicious things in the world, but if you get on their bad side, they can hurt you with their claws. But if you get on their good side, they can help out too.
That
So
might
you
be
would
something
kinda
that
know
I
what
would
they
be
are.
able to make a quick run over there and try to.
I can. I guess we could take you there. Yeah, we can do that. I suppose. That's what you like. Yes, ma'am. We can.
Believe we're going to need all the allies we can get with this.
Okay, well, sure. We can get on up there. So we'll say one of the others, Justin stays behind to kind of coordinate. Somebody else kind of escorts you. They're not that far away. They're half an hour or so, kind of winding their way up the dark mountain. But eventually you find this sort of shallow cave that eventually turns into these tunnels and things. But the fellow who's with you, we'll call him what do we want to call him? Let's call him sorry, I usually got a name thing set up here.
Tobias.
Let's call him Jasper. Jasper kind of comes on in. You can see this dark kind of shallow cave. Then there's these kind of steep drop tunnels at the very end. You can see that there's these scrape marks on the wall, and he's like, that right there's, you got them big old claws there. And so he goes and he there's a little bell kind of set up, like this old kind of cow bell. He just kind of ding, 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 ding. A few minutes later, you're looking down the tunnel and you see like these dark kind of silhouette shapes. Jasper's holding up what looks like a torch in his hand, and you can see this fella. And then this other fella right behind, and eventually you see about 4 of these different diggers kind of climb up, and they stand around and like,
gems, fishies, shinies.
And you see Jasper's like, just you got a lady here who wants to ask you a question. He kind of is holding out what looks like this kind of shiny little nugget or something. You can't quite tell what it is. He just kind of hands it over. They want to ask you a question. We come in peace. Wants to ask you a question. And he kind of holds his hand out, and right as this big old claw with these razor talons kind of come out, yanks his hand away, and then he gets what would you like to do?
Well, thank you for talking with us. I was
Fishies?
hoping to
Gems.
see that you could maybe help us out.
Fishies?
Well, more after.
Fishies? What? What do you want?
Like some help to dig. Got
Dig.
some folks.
Dig. Everyone wants dig. Dig. Oh, stop digging. We
trapped
dig.
under.
Stay out of. This is home.
It seems that maybe you might be able to get back. And I'm sort of looking just to make sure I'm not kind of overstepping, but maybe you could go back to your old home. Maybe. And I'm
We
kind of
can go
looking over
back.
to Jasper.
Go home.
And he's like, he's just kind of doing the, like, ma'am, Galloway's kind of, well, they got Briar Bear pretty locked down. Something fierce. There ain't really anywhere they can go. And if they do go back there, it's liable they get shot. I mean, they're kind of hard to deal with, but I don't want them. I don't mean them any harm or nothing. They don't mean us any harm, so we can,
I see.
live and let live.
Sorry. Maybe more shinies, fishes.
So, you can roll persuasion if you want to talk to them. If, however, you have something on you that you might try to bribe them with, you could potentially even bypass the roll entirely.
I have a possibles bag,
Okay.
which I've never quite known exactly what that is.
I think if the possibles bag is it's sort of just like it's like it's just sort of you put anything in it. Like there's like think of it almost like a precursor to like a big old purse where you just drop a bunch of different things in it, like different equipment and little odds and ends, stuff like that.
So it can have whatever, I am not a young person, so I would imagine that there's a lot of random stuff that's in that bag.
Okay.
I'm willing to just hand over.
Okay. Do you have anything that's actually documented on your character sheet that you can hand over?
No.
Did you pick up Doggin's mouth harp that he won? Or Douglas's mouth harp?
Can we say that I did?
Sure. That's fine.
All right.
That's actually
Okay.
a thing.
Thank you.
I remember. I definitely remember. There we go. That's not quite accurate, but it's close enough. Like it's the closest thing I got. Okay.
He can do something useful for us yet.
No, chat. I don't have snowshoes, but I do
Snowshoes.
have the sewing
Perfect.
needles that
Totally
I'm
perfect.
not particularly good at using. But yeah.
Okay. If you have the mouth harp, you kind of pull it out of your possibles bag, you hold it up, light of the torch flickers off it,
Shiny.
and he kind of reaches out with these big old claws to grab it. Now the hands are huge, the big old talons. They could kind of rip the skin clean off your fingers if you kind of let them get to it. So you hand over the harp. You can even feel a little bit like a prick along your hand, and your hands are now suddenly bleeding once more. And Twilted Twitch just dropped 1,000 for a bag of shiny
my
buttons. You know
gosh.
what? I will say that there are several shiny buttons as well. You have been sewing, so that works as well. All of the mouth harp would have done The mouth harp would have done is kind of gotten it started. But as you're holding open the possibles bag, one of the other ones, probably one of the ones that actually can see,
Like, shinies.
and they reach out after your possibles bag and they just snatch it off your side. What do you want to do?
Luis is feeling pretty desperate, so she'll just be like, if that gets you to come with us, you can have it.
Okay. So they snatch your possibles bag and they're just kind of going through it. And we'll say your sewing kit or whatever, you left it back there, so you didn't lose that. But like your possibles bag with all these different shiny rocks and buttons and like some sort of thimble or something like that. And they're just ecstatic about it. None of them has any like major great value to it. They're just buttons, but to them it's fascinating. And
Yes, we dig. We help. For shinies.
Yeah, you got all the shinies even before you help.
Okay, we dig. Go. We follow.
And Louisa will just turn to Jasper and just say, guess we go back.
okay. So I'm just going to give you one success. No roll needed since you gave over stuff. Otherwise, it would have been a persuasion and it would have been penalized. But you're good to go.
Yay! I didn't fail for everyone.
All right. And again, you can
Don't
just not do anything if you have a club. You just say you don't want to risk it. It's fine. Joe,
I haven't rolled yet, so I mean,
but you're not sitting on a club. So you're okay.
I know, but there's still time for me to crit fail.
There's still time for
There's
Amian
always
to
time.
ruin it at the end. So what would character Joe be doing at this point? You've
So,
got the
Joe's
muffled
thinking
thing.
that-
Is it nice?
excuse me.
Yeah.
Joe's thinking that maybe some legwork would be useful here, scouting out the area, figuring out what buildings are nearby, figuring out what we have to do to get over the gate. How's it locked?
Okay.
Is it chained up? How many guards? Are they on any kind of rotation schedule?
Sounds like
So
a
I was
notice
actually
check.
wanting to do the same thing if it matters.
Why don't we team up?
That sounds good. So
Unless you've got a club, in which case I'll shoot you first.
I know. My turn's further down in initiative, but I was wanting to do the same thing. So
Okay, so you're basically offering support. So that would be Doggett and Joe, you head off together. And so on Joe's turn, Joe, you can go ahead and roll notice. Take a +1 from Doggett, giving you a hand. And yeah, go from there. And then when Doggin's turn comes around, we can do the same thing, or we can vary it, do something else. But roll that notice test.
ooh, nice.
There we go. 16.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well that's a raise. So that's gonna put you guys all the way up to 11 of the 12 tokens you
Yay.
need. Almost there. Okay, so first of all, Joe, you notice that there are a dozen guards that seem to be actively on duty. There are it's a basically like a chain link fence, but there are a lot of spots where there's just sort of like wood paneling and things here and there. There are, hang on, let me double check one thing. I just want to tell you the right thing. There are a couple different lookout towers actually inside the fence, and they are on the northeast, southwest, and southeast corners. But there isn't one on the northwest. However, on the northwest, there is a fairly large building that looks to be either like a barracks or just sort of like something like that, where guards are kind of coming and going from. At any given moment, it looks like all three of those lookout towers have guards. It also looks like there's two more that are patrolling along the inside perimeter, and then the rest of them, the other 7, are kind of scattered about. There's a pair that looks like playing cards or rolling dice right out in front of the barracks. There's there's 2 other small buildings as well that you've seen them go in and out of. But actively, there are 5 that are clearly looking for people, and then there's probably about 7 more you've counted that are taking care of other tasks. You notice that they're all company guards. You actually don't see any Kramer Holt agents. So you don't see any Tommy gun holding people or anything like that. So you see like the usual guards. There's the ones that usually carry the shocker stick, and they wear the bulletproof vest, but you're not carrying like the heavy guns that the Kramer Holt agents do.
Okay. Like try and work out if they've got a schedule, like patrols on and off, how quickly people come and go if there's more than one shift.
So, I mean, some of the shift stuff is
I'm looking
something
for a
that
shift change is really
Yeah.
the big thing. It's like, what happens when the shift change occurs?
Right. So if you're hanging out we can say you're hanging out there for a while. You will say that if you and Doggett head over, it's dark at this point, and you guys are using the darkness to kind of cloak where you're at, and you're looking down. There's a couple torches here and there, so you're able to get all this light on the inside. From what you can tell, there was a shift change right after dusk, like right when the sun went down. And we'll say you were there for probably about an hour or 2 afterwards, and there hasn't been another shift. It does look like the patrols along the inside perimeter, they're happening pretty consistently, like every half an hour or so. And then it looks like every hour, a little over an hour and a half or so, people switch out who's in the tower. But in terms of any kind of greater shifts than that, you would probably have to stay here and watch like a whole day to get like the full shift schedule.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So then let me switch back. I think we go back to Double D. Last we saw Double D, you saw Cletus attacked one of these other guys, but was unable to kind of kill him outright. And you now hear the sounds of his legs kicking against the walls, against the railings, and he's making all sorts of noise. He's not screaming, but his legs are kicking. And you hear that last of the guards is running around. What would you like to do?
How close? Buildings there.
Pretty close. I would say between the huts, there's maybe 10 feet at most.
All right. Oh, yeah, that goes beta formation. There you go. You know what? These walls real thin.
Walls are thin. Yeah, they're just like there's no insulation. It's just a single sheets of wood studded here and there.
All right. 3 things. Kool-Aid man. Hard swing with an attitude adjuster. Run.
Okay. Do you want to go for the guy who's coming around or the guy that Cletus already has?
Is the guy coming around? Is he?
He's coming.
Oh,
and
he's
like,
not running away. He's.
Oh no, he's coming to help.
No.
See what's going on.
Right.
He's hearing crazy
Going after that
sounds.
one.
Okay. So you want to just time it so that you just burst out of the wall right as he comes around.
I get my attitude just.
God dang it. Athletics.
Gotcha.
I think that's athletics. That sounds like athletics has to be. Okay.
Brown britches. That's what he's got now.
Oh god.
All right. You know what? Yeah, I'll go with 7.
Okay, 7's a
Go with
success.
7. Yeah.
So step 1 of your plan. So I'm gonna count that as the roll. Okay, so you guys are at 12 tokens, and so as long as no one takes any away, you guys are good to go. You leap out, you burst through one of these panels of the wood of the wall, and it just kind of flops down onto him, and he's able to kind of stumble away. He kind of looks a little distracted and he's surprised. And he's got this studded club in his hand. He's about to lunge out at you with. But you're going to go ahead and get the jump. I'm not going to say. What would you roll? A 7? I'll tell you what. We'll treat that like your stealth
7.
roll to surprise him,
All right.
and I'll see if he saw it coming, whether you get the drop or not. Let's do that. All right. I rolled a 5, so you're good. You do get the drop. So roll your attack.
All right.
It's so good.
I never rolled this one before.
So this is just a normal attack.
Yeah, normal attack with my
4.
attitude adjuster. All right. Do good. Oh, that's a 12.
Oh,
God. That's a raise.
Well, that's a 12 on a D12.
Oh, God. Well, that's good enough. A 12 is good enough to have a raise. So roll damage with raise, with +4 from your drop.
All right. It's 22.
On the to hit?
On the hit.
Well, on the hit, that's definitely a raise. So now roll damage.
All right.
Oh my gosh.
With a raise and with your +4 for the drop.
All right.
Jesus.
I can
Poor
do
guy.
it. Put your back into it.
Just trying to feed his family.
I gotta get my other D8. Okay. You can do this. Good job.
Do you want anything extra?
No, I don't need it.
All
All right, I'm in
Boy.
12 right now.
Boy.
Oh shit, that's another 8. 16. What's 16 plus 4? That's 20. Right, it's 21 plus them 2 from it because I'm doing it. That'd be 23 damage.
Describe how you obliterate this poor man.
I yell, gotcha. And then the next thing I yell is 4. As I just a side swipe one ear through the other ear as it goes sailing like a melon in the breeze. It's like that on the way.
And you see him go, and he just crashes down to these crates in the alleyway, stumbles around, wood splinters everywhere, falls kind of on top of him, even partially obscuring him. Up by Cletus, you just finally, as the guy's been kicking, suddenly the legs stop kicking, and he goes limp and all three that were following Double D to Justin Taylor's auntie's house have been taken care of.
We gotta go.
Yeah, man, I'm gonna take one of them bottles and just prop it in this guy's hand. They'll just think they were drunk.
Okay, so you do that. You the giant garrote across his throat. You and Double
Drunk himself to
D.
death.
Yeah, exactly. You and Double D, you start heading back to the hideout. All right, Doggint, we come to you. You and Joe decided to come and do some scouting at the yard to get the mining equipment. You do see the drill in the middle. Joe has been carefully studying the routes. There is plenty of time in terms of like the perimeter movements of the guards, and there's also, like I said, there's those three watchtowers on the northeast, southeast, and southwest. The only corner that doesn't have a watchtower is the northwest, but there is like a barracks over there, and that's where you see like guys playing cards outside and everything. What do you want to do?
Is that barracks like by the wall?
It's probably within 5 to 10 feet of the fence.
I was just kind of wondering if we're wanting to do like a diversion and maybe apply some dynamite creatively. That's what I want to look for. Maybe that's the place to do it. No watchtower, so they won't see me coming up to the fence. Put a little dynamite down there, blow up the wall, maybe draw some people away from the mining equipment.
Why don't we then say we'll do this in kind of reverse order, or maybe some of the guys, the Mighty Fist, as Cletus and Double D, make it back with the dynamite. They say, hey, two of your fellas went up to the Umberkirk yard already. The Doggint fella and that guy with those eyes who just kind of stares at you like he's gonna... You sure he's a good fella? I mean, never mind. Don't tell him I said nothing. I can show you where they are. So then Double D, Cletus, you guys kind of get led up, and you come up on Doggint as Doggint's kind of doing some calculations here and there. And so now we'll say Double D.
Ironically, I'm trying to lean into my edge of calculating.
Oh, brilliant. So we'll say Double D, Cletus, you join Joe and Doggint, who have already done some advanced scouting. Doggint, what do you want to roll here?
I don't really know. Ironically,
Notice
specifically, okay, notice is fine. Calculating comes in specifically as also having my initiative under 5. I get to reduce my my negatives.
So there are 3 of them here at this point, so we can say they're supporting you. So you can, the 4 of you kind of working together to figure out where the best place to put the dynamite might be to create a distraction. So you can take a +3 from them supporting you.
All right, I'm trying to remember. Do I right click on it to do that, or trying to remember how to edit my rolls?
I think you just click. If you're rolling from the sheet, if you're on digital, just click on it and then add in a modifier.
So I get to basically remove my minus for fatigue. That's what I'm actually.
Do you want any extra pluses before you start?
It sounds like I'm getting +C already, so that should be plenty. I needed them.
As long as you don't critical fail, everything's okay. Like if you fail, it just means like no progress. If you critically fail, I actually remove a token. So that's the only bad thing.
I got a 5.
5 is a success. So you could probably, with the fact that you got 3 sticks dynamite, which are, you could probably set them right at the corner of this wall here, and it would create a blast big enough to get into the barracks for sure. Like that's very, very easily done. If you wanted to try to do something a little bit more risky, I mean, you could try to like toss it into one of the windows, because there is a barrack window here, and they do have it open because it is kind of warm. But who knows if they see it in time, all that kind of stuff. And there also appears to be like the barracks does seem to be kind of raised up off the ground a bit. So you might even be able to, if someone wants to try to get over that wall there, that fence, might be able to sneak it underneath.
I feel like we got someone eyeing for a job here.
So
see Cletus.
Double D, Cletus and I are back. Yeah?
Yeah, you're all there. The 4 of you together.
Oh. I want to tell him about that cool kung fu that I did over there. It's mighty good.
Man, you wouldn't believe it, man. He just came burst through an entire wall of the house. Went,
We don't want to bust through the wall exactly, but we do want to tuck some dynamite under the floor.
Are you
where they
said
can't see it.
throwing? That dynamite got crystal growing on it.
No, it doesn't seem to be sweat and nitroglycerin. No,
Oh, that's too bad.
I would have. I would have had you guys rolling stuff on the way back as you're carrying it. They never come back. Look at that.
Oh, it would have been dangerous. I don't imagine Double D's light-footed.
All right. So you guys have a couple options then that each one of those would work. It's just a question of what you want to do. So let's finish this dramatic task off, and then we'll kind of break from the structure, and we'll narrate how this all ends. So
Amian. This one out, Amian.
Amian, we're sitting at 13 tokens. You needed 12. You guys are good. You can literally just not do anything and everything's fine. If you tried to roll something and failed, the whole task would fail, despite the fact that you have 13 tokens.
True. But I do have curious as a major hindrance.
I appreciate that. You can take a Benny. if you decide to go through with doing something, I'll give you an extra Benny for playing to your hindrance.
I'm really curious about what this facility looks like, and I heard that some people snuck up and
Maybe you went with them. That's fine.
Yeah. So
okay.
I absolutely wouldn't stay behind and not get a chance to look at it.
What would you like to do?
Yeah, I just want to do like a notice on it and see if I notice anything in particular that'll help us as we try to infiltrate. Maybe like how many exits and entrances, that type of stuff.
Sure.
Get a layout.
Yeah, I'll try to give you some more info if you want to go ahead and roll a notice.
All right.
You got some of that already because Joe kind of gave you most of the patterns. Doggett was looking for a place to put dynamite, and so if you want to look for other things, I can try to give you something.
All right.
The extras.
Too late.
And then I'm gonna Benny that, and when I do a Benny, I'm gonna spend. How many extras do we have left?
We don't have any more bennies extras, but just boosts.
Or
yeah, so boosts
how many boosts do we have?
6.
I'll take 2.
Okay. Thank you, audience.
I actually
Again,
need to do.
If this fails,
to do it as this.
The whole task fails. So clutch.
And I had an additional +2 on that, so 14.
Wow.
All right. As the other guys are like debating, like as Doggett, Double D, and Cletus are debating like proper dynamite placement, and as Joe is unblinking eyes is just tracking somehow every one of the guards at the same time. His eyes seem to be working differently. You actually spot one of the guards kind of coming out one of these other sheds. There's 2 other buildings in addition to the barracks. There looks to be some kind of workshop, you think. People are kind of going in and out with tools every now and then. There are a couple like junker cars here too. None of them look to be in good condition. You're not sure if any of them work. They're all kind of, beaten to hell. There's a big old stack of tires, and you notice that in the southeastern building, someone kind of comes in and out. You notice them rolling barrels in. There might be some fuel in there, maybe.
More fun building to blow up.
I will definitely relay that.
Okay. So you guys have completed the task. You've prepped everything. Louisa, you have actually gone off script and recruited the diggers who will help you. There is like a little mini calculation with how much you guys can dig per day. And the diggers can dig pretty well. But then if you have the mining drill on top, if you have both,
I'm just imagining the visual of like everybody else is like looking at this, like area very intently, and then like Louisa just comes walking up with like all the diggers behind in tow.
And you see that she's got like a whole group of these creatures. Some of you might recognize them, some of you might not, but they got these big old claws, and they're like kind of fighting with each other over these buttons, and they've got these milky white eyes.
They're like, dig, wait, dig. Can't dig here. No, can't dig here.
Let's send them on to the mine.
Could certainly do that if you like and get started.
Got some assistance.
Okay. So the one thing all of you would be able to determine is that the diggers, they're not loud like the machine is. So there's always that. Like you can do both. Both will dig faster because you have two different things you're using.
Mm-hmm.
Diggers will be quieter because it's not this heavy machinery. Joe has concocted a way to mute the sound a bit, so that will help. So it's just kind of a question of like, do you guys want to go through with the heist of this machinery?
I mean, I kind of do.
Is there only one like channel into this mine?
You guys aren't at the mine. You guys are at the yard right now. But the mine itself, like you guys were at there earlier, like you literally have to dig through the collapsed seams. So like there's a series of seams basically, and you have to dig into them. You have to drill down into them kind of on a slight angle. And you have to dig one way or the other down through there. And each one of those seams has the potential to have something, or the seam itself could have collapsed as well. Some of them even might have pockets open where there could be people who are surviving. So there's really not like an extra entrance in or anything like that. Just think of it like you're digging into a rocky hill, essentially.
Okay.
My last crazy idea, since there's this building here, would a digger be able to dig under the fence real easy, like, and then we don't have to go over the fence, and then we could put that dynamite in there all nice and easy, like.
Well, I mean,
For shiny, we dig under.
And he's this is pointing at the dynamite.
For shiny, we dig under.
no, hang on there. Well, I mean, what we gotta, if we're trying to get quiet, like, I mean, we gotta worry about stealing all this crap. I can just dig down there.
Dig under for shiny.
Dig under where?
I think it's a speed issue that I would imagine that big old machine over there is going to feet per second a bit faster than these here folks.
The
digger's
an
like,
idea.
Nah, we faster.
Go ahead, Cletus.
We have in usual been looting the bodies of the people we kill, what being the good people we are.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Cletus just pulls out a couple nice shiny bullets.
Okay.
Oh, shiny.
There you go.
Big old claw comes out. So none of you were. Double D, you were a miner. You said you did some mining.
I did something, not a whole lot, but I got a little bit, yeah.
You probably know what these things are then.
Hey.
They are extraordinarily fast and efficient. If as long as you're giving them stuff and keeping them happy, they'll do what you want, and they're extremely fast. They're probably even faster than like mining equipment. It's just a question of whether you can kind of keep them placated the whole time.
Is there like it's like an armory or something that's got like nicer clothing that we could raid from the company and just
you know that all they have is a
things?
barracks here. They just have a barracks here. That's all you really know of. Yeah, they might have, but it could just be company guard clothes. Like the company guard people, they dress nicer than you, but it's not like they're dressing as well as like the big boys themselves. Like you can tell that they are company people, but they're not themselves big boys. They just work for them.
Hey, I didn't know these real, digger people. I didn't know they were on the table, and I would have maybe, said they don't want to do that. But how about this? You all, first your down payments in bullets, and you start digging down the thing, rescuing people.
Fishy.
Hey, the further we go, the more we get.
I already gave him a big down payment of all the buttons and everything that I've been carrying with me for the last 20 years. But you can certainly get bullets along the way.
We got extra guns still, don't we?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. We got 3 extra now.
Oh, shiny.
Plays around with it in his hand. Starts pointing it here and there. Can't quite pull the trigger because their talons are too big, but very excited about it.
Not, not trying to wipe away the last hour and 42 minutes, but
my only thought of this is that like how big a hole can they dig? Because we got people to rescue down there, and if they're only going to make holes as big as they are, and it's going to be difficult to get those people out of them small holes.
It seems like we could do a little bit of plan A, a little bit of plan B, have the diggers go over there, start what they're doing. And then if we run into complications here, they're still doing
maybe
what
the
they're
diggers
doing.
find out that we need a bigger hole when they go down there. Maybe they the first wave.
scouts.
Okay.
So that place is really, really, really secure. They got guard posts and they look like they're you said they were not they're all company men and not
Primer hold agents.
Yeah, they're not as so the Kramer hold agents are very well equipped. These guys are just, they have okay equipment, but it's like shocker sticks and stuff like that.
Okay. So they all company men, but they got them 3 towers up there, and it looks like maybe there's like a bunk or something in there. So maybe they got a whole mess of people in there too. Didn't stick around long enough to find out, but it's going to be complicated. But I mean, we could do it. But maybe we send the diggers first and see if we have to do it.
We are up against the sunrise will come at some point. So if we are wanting to do this, we might want to get everything done under cover of darkness and not necessarily wait for them to tell us in the middle of the day that they can't make any more progress. And then we're trying to do this heist under sunshine. I have faith in your dynamite locating plan.
Is there like another like is there like a house or something that one of the bigger company people stay at that would have some more not nearby? Okay.
Yeah. You guys do know that the longer, like every hour, every 2 hours that goes by, someone could be bleeding out, oxygen could be deprived. So like the longer you wait, the more things you try to accomplish beforehand. People could be literally dying right now.
I say to hell with all that, man. Like we already been loud, and Davey's in there. There's plenty of other people who got families to whatnot. I say, fuck it, just everything, all of it.
We got 3 sticks of dynamite. I think we only need 1 to blow up a fuel depot. We could put 2 under the barracks and 1 in here and blow up both places.
Yeah, man.
Okay. You guys earned this. You got your dramatic task. So all you got to do is tell me how this plays out. You've already done.
That's my plan.
Okay. So where do you put the dynamite? You got the barracks, you got that fuel depot area, and you've got the watchtowers.
Yeah, if we can get a digger to get us a quick little easy under the fence, then we could put 2 under the bunker easy.
Done.
Get 1 at the depot real easy.
Okay.
And then if we're going to have Joe go in there and try to talk him into moving the equipment, we let him talk for a second, and then we light off some dynamite, maybe shoot some guns a little bit, make some noise.
Okay. So you go ahead and you get the dynamite. So the dynamite's in place, but the question is are you timing it with a wick or something, or are you looking to shoot it? Like how are you going to trigger it? Because dynamite's just, are you
Yeah. I mean, I imagine we'll probably have to, light it and run away like it's firework.
But you're sending Joe in to talk to them as you're exploding dynamite in 3 different places.
I don't know. Let's do part of a plan. You're going to set things. We're going to blow it up, and then we're going to escort Joe in to get the shit out.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
All right. So then let's just narrate this. You set dynamite barracks, depot, and then where's the third one?
Barracks.
Okay, it's 2 under the barracks.
We could hit one of the guard towers.
Okay, one of the guard towers. Okay, so you go ahead. There is a main gate on the south. Doesn't look like it would be difficult. You can easily kind of rip it open, probably, or just shoot it open or something like that. So it's not that's not like it's well secured or anything. But you get the diggers. They get you underneath the walls. You set up. There's plenty of these diggers, so you guys kind of spread out. Lay here, do your best to kind of time your, the explosions themselves. It's probably not perfect. You gotta get to You get to a decent range away, and then it's just barracks goes up first, and you just see the whole darn building just erupts into the sky. This big old fiery explosion. You see people flying up with it, smoke, debris. You can see the walls on the northwestern side just fall completely down. And if that wasn't big enough, well, then the depot goes up, which had all the fuel in it. And this thing's like a mushroom cloud all of a sudden. This orange, fiery, this almost pyroclastic cloud just erupts into the sky, smokes over one of the other watchtowers. You hear a handful of people just scream out this blood-curdling pain, like, "Wah!" from this massive explosion. And then the watchtower, as one of this other guy who managed to survive the initial explosion, is like, I'll help you. And then he goes up, flying up in the air. And you can see that there are people still alive, but there's so much panic at this point. As they're running around, chasing, you see others are kind of running into like the smoke and the fire, like, Jimmy, where you at? Jimmy. And it is absolute chaos. What happens
next? Take Joe in to talk about stealing a vehicle.
What happens next?
Do the thing.
Yeah, I'm tempted to just basically walk on in there like we own the place. And
you just go on in. There's plenty of places to get in. You don't have to worry about going into the front gate at this point, as much of the wall is now fallen down from the explosions here and there. There's plenty of like dust and debris. You can see, Joe, that that this machine, you can see the drilling machine's right dead center of the actual yard itself. It's right next to where all of these like old rusted cars and this pile of tires are. It's right there, clear as can be. Guys kind of run in. So much smoke. There's so much debris, so much fire. People shouting left and right. People in pain, like, help me, help, mama. As they're calling out from the shadows, you guys run on in, grab it, you run back on out, right under the cover of all that smoke and debris. They're none the wiser.
Mission accomplished.
Everything according to plan.
You have obliterated this Umberkirk requisition yard. That fuel explosion was something fierce. You have the diggers as your allies. You have the mining equipment as well. And you make it back, still at night. The one thing that's got you now, though, is that was very loud, and it's going to take a while to dig. So, we'll say you make it back. You just kind of like hand wave some of the movement there. We make it back. You kind of set it up, and between the diggers, which can dig at about 40 feet per day, and the drill, which can go about 20 feet. So you're looking at roughly like 60 feet essentially a day, or a shift or something like that. And you're basically trying to do this at night while you can't be seen. So you're digging, and eventually a little time passes as you're kind of waiting around. The diggers are kind of doing their thing. Joe, you've set up the machinery, kind of thrown that muting blanket on top of it. It's not too difficult. It is gas powered, so you kind of pour some that you manage to snatch on your way out, and you kind of get that thing up and going. It's just billowing horrible scented smoke out into the air, but it's definitely quiet. The town, you can see off in the distance, there's lights here and there that have been lit up within various houses. Something's going on there. So you hear weird shouts. You see people moving about. It is not completely quiet. Those of you who get close hear some sort of chatter about finding some bodies. Finding some bodies in the alleyways and things like that. And there apparently is a guard presence as well. But no one's really looking at the mine currently. You can see all the residue of all the vigils and stuff lit up. About an hour passes, and one of the diggers comes back up, and it's like,
we found something. Open. Go. Give button. Give shiny. Give fishy.
So they found the first scene. They've gotten basically punched through into the first scene. Does anyone want to go down?
Hey, I'll go.
All right. Double D starts climbing down.
Hey.
Anybody else?
Hell yeah, okay.
Okay. Cletus,
I
you
assume
climb
I
on.
can
For
stay
sure.
with machine,
I'm
so-
curious.
Joe, you stay with machine. Okay.
Yep.
I'll probably stay
Amy.
up here so we're not all
Okay.
I'm going
no one's
down.
by themselves.
All right. So Cletus, Amy, and Double D, you go down. The other three stay behind. Louisa, you're hanging out with the diggers. So you're helping them, giving them bullets and buttons. So Cletus, Double D, Amy, you're looking around. You can see that there are all these tracks for coal cars and such. Several are filled with coal here and there. You even see a couple stray donkeys that are kind of wandering around down here, like scared and lost. And you can see they're shivering and frightened. That were probably left as like some of the workers were escaping. Some of them are kind of still tethered to various places here and there. Others are just wandering free. You find a bunch of discarded equipment. There's all these mining axes, helmets. You got these with like the carbide lights and everything. And Cletus, one thing catches your eye as you're kind of going through. It looks like a couple different lunch like boxes, like metal boxes, lunch boxes, canteens, and things like that. You recognize one that's got this hand drawn like little thing of like what looks like a banana on the side. You open it up and you see this kind of little drawing, this little kid's drawing on the inside. Gives you the sense it's probably Davies, but you don't see any bodies around here. Ain't anyone in here other than them donkeys. This is only the first seam. There's plenty of tiny cracks in the rock, and you can see that there's like evidence of like these deep, narrow fissures that have been formed by like the explosion that kind of caused this collapse. So you start shifting the diggers down. Like the three of you kind of clear it out. Diggers kind of keep going. Joe, you get the machine up and running. Once you kind of cool it down, you reload some of the fuel. You kind of push through, and eventually in the same night, you're able to get down to the second seam as well. Double D, Cletus, Amy, and you kind of go around looking again. Again, you see signs of all this explosion, this impact. You see like there's all sorts of rubble on the ground. It looks like all these like coal cars and such. You can see spider web cracks like that, like all across the floor. Like every step you guys are taking as you're walking through here is starting to get a little nerve wracking as you can kind of feel the ground itself just feels a little unsafe. Toward the back of the seam, you guys notice something a little strange. You see these funny green rocks. Kind of just there, kind of this little shiny quality to them. You and the diggers are like, oh, shiny.
Shiny.
You can either roll an occult or a common knowledge roll for this. At -2 for common knowledge, by the way.
I definitely do not have a cult.
There you go.
Rolling common knowledge with the -2 is the same as rolling on skill.
9 on occult.
Okay, Amian, you know what these are. You've heard stories, at least. You've heard stories because apparently the Galloways, they blasted away the top of Blasted Beauty, which is in the Stygian mountain range. They literally blasted the top off of it, and they discovered these funny green rocks. They're called verdonite. You know that they have a tendency to be twice as explosive as dynamite, like even more explosive and unstable. And likely this whole kind of collapse that happened is likely the result of something going wrong with them trying to mine this, or somebody mined it incorrectly, or to try to remove it. Like just moving it. It's extraordinarily volatile. But also with a 9, there's like reports of like people feeling less, like a fatigue sets in if they carry it for too long. It's not that it's heavy. It's just something about just being near it just kind of makes people just sort of kind of tired and a little sickly at the same time.
I'll definitely be like, when the diggers are getting close to it, I'll be like, nope, bad shiny. Stay.
Oh, good shiny.
It'll hurt you.
No bad shiny.
Very
Oh,
bad shiny.
Good. Oh, shiny.
Awful
good.
shiny.
Ah, they kill
Volatile,
you.
explosive,
They kill you.
dangerous,
How
bad
dare
shiny.
Okay. Roll a persuasion test.
Okay.
See if you can keep them from messing around.
I'll bet it. Why not? I'll offer. So I've got 2 knives.
Okay.
I'll offer up one of my knives as like shiny instead.
Yeah, fine. Nah.
They take the knife. They just snatch it out of your hand. Joe, you move the machine down a little bit more, reset it, kind of re-aim it, try to find a section of the ground that's not as unstable as some of these spiderweb cracks. Double D, Cletus, you kind of like step off to the side. Louisa, you direct the diggers, and you keep digging. Hours go by as it's a little bit harder. You finally push through this to the 3rd seam. And you realize that it doesn't exist anymore. It's completely and utterly collapsed. Everything's kind of collapsed right in. Whoever was in here is just, there's just nothing more. There's the previous 2 seams are at least these pockets you could move around in. Cletus, Amian, or Double D, go ahead and roll a notice test.
I can do that.
Wow, look at that go.
12.
Okay.
Wow.
Amian, you notice that there are bodies in the rock. Like, they're dead. They're dead folk. But their bodies broken, bloody. You can see kind of mixed in with some of the collapsed rock here and there. Maybe somewhere between about 5 and 10. It's hard to say for sure. You could recover them, but it would take more time to do so, or you can continue to just drill through to the next seam.
I mean, I don't want to prioritize our time for people that are known dead. So I'll like point it out and say like, maybe if we have time on the way back up, we can grab these people, but we should push on and see if there's anyone still alive past this.
All right. Does everyone agree with that? Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Joe, you reset the machine. Try to drill in such a way so as not to drill through one of these bodies. And you just try to aim it as best you can. The diggers are kind of doing the same. And you continue to get out. Seam 4 is about 80 feet down, and it's going to take you, we're kind of montaging and fast forwarding through stuff because we're at the end here. But it's going to take you basically 2 days, 2 nights, I should say. The whole daytime, you kind of hide out in one of these pockets here and there, kind of keep it quiet. The diggers can probably do a little digging, which maybe you kind of don't use the machine too much during the day, but then nighttime comes around, you kind of get back to it. And eventually you punch through into seam 4. And when you do, you can see that there are finally people here. There's about 20 folk in here that you can tell, give or take. It's kind of dark. About half of them are unconscious. The other half are alive, but there's a lot that are in bad shape. You can see that there are even a few that are in kind of really, really critical condition. So once like you guys punch through, those that are conscious are like, hey, help, we need help here. And you just hear people start screaming out with help. And when you peek in, you kind of hold a light down, one of those carbide helmet lights you kind of click on, or some maybe you use the dark vision stuff that Doggin had prepped. You can see that there's like literally people who that if you don't stabilize them before trying to remove them, they're probably going to die. And Cletus, you know that one of them is Davy.
Man.
I'm to send Louisa Palmer in.
So
Okay.
would we say it's been long enough that I would be back full on power points?
Sure, because the whole day basically passed it. You could probably rest
Do
during
we-
the day.
Do you heal wounds per day, or how does that work?
Like long rest and stuff? Man, you always ask them questions I don't remember the answers to. Simple questions.
So I've had one wound for a while.
Yeah, you
I
can.
You
Yeah,
have
you're
a
fine.
teammate you can.
Yeah, I can just try to do a straight up healing. I don't even have to use
Don't worry about it. Just take it.
power
It's
points
fine.
for that. Sometime in the last
Okay.
couple days, I healed you.
Okay. So
All right.
just
so-
go ahead then, and whoever wants to, presumably Louisa, go ahead and roll that healing test.
All
And I will
right.
tell you that this needs to succeed.
Might be a
Yes.
chance to use one of our bonuses.
Cletus has to
Yeah.
be a stepfather to old bananas.
Is there any way to aid?
Jeremy will have to roll a new character. It is a healing spell she's casting, right?
Yes,
Oh,
it is.
okay.
So if you have like the healing skill or something like that, we can say you're aiding.
I have
do you have
survival.
Yeah.
I don't have the
Nah,
actual
that's fine.
heal though.
So I am rolling my D10, 6, and I'm taking 2. That is a 10.
Okay, that's plenty. All right,
And let me look at something real quick with healing. Where did
that's
my
fine.
healing thing
It's
go?
a sick. Don't worry about it. It's a
All right.
success. It's fine. Okay. So over the course of, it's going to take. If we had more time, I'd probably do a dramatic task with this because like some of these people could potentially die as you try to evacuate them. But what we'll say is, because we're getting near the end and I don't want to have this linger over to another session, that it does take a while. Not everyone has survived. There are people in this final pocket, this fourth pocket, that have perished. So you can kind of recover those bodies. Trying to get back up and get those others. You're able to get some, but not all. A couple weird things happened sort of before this is all finishes up. While you all are down in the fourth seam, so Double D and Cletus are probably the ones that drop down there because they're the strongest and they're helping kind of hand bodies up. The two of you do hear strange sounds coming from below. Like really, really strange sounds, like below seam 4. You hear the sounds of like and both of you are smart enough to know that it doesn't sound human. Like it doesn't sound like voices, doesn't sound like other miners, but there's something else down there.
I say we make like a tree. Get the hell out of here.
That is a smart thing to do.
That is what
Uh,
please do.
would I know if this like?
Dynamite.
Would I know if this whatever the green rock stuff is called? Would I know if that has the Vernite? Would I know if that can like corrupt and make people into zombies or something like that?
You have not heard of anything like that, no.
Okay.
No. So just last question is, do you try to push through even further with the mining equipment or the diggers to see what's in that fifth seam? Or do you let sleeping dogs lie?
I'm curious.
I'm good to
I
go.
am too, man.
I'm also curious, but probably
Let's
not.
get everybody free, and then I'll just hand Amian one of the bullets.
Yeah. I think we check it out after everyone's out of here.
All right, I want to send you to up with someone else.
I don't think we need to use the machine. We could probably hey, the diggers. It would probably be. I don't know if we want to make that big of a hole into whatever's down there.
Okay.
So
You clear out the rest of them. You get the diggers. You give them some more shinies. You can tell that the seam's getting ready to collapse in. And it's been about 2.5, 3 days worth of work here, because even getting them out has taken several hours. Everyone's extraordinarily thankful. You're doing your best to avoid the company guards. You're having to be even just evacuating them, you have to be stealthy about it. You don't want to be seen saving any of these folks. And more than once you've had to hide and kind of turn off the machine, or get the diggers to shut the hell up, or get the miners that you're trying to evacuate to just wait and hide as guards are kind of coming around. More of those detective people are starting to show up too. There's all sorts of rumors that are starting to happen now about something that went down at the Umberkirk, requisition yard. All those things are starting to pop up. But eventually, you get a moment, probably 3 days later, where you go for it. Get those diggers, and then they burst through. And you hear just kind of just suddenly sound coming from the darkness below, and the diggers are like, no, no, and they just start frantically just running past you, climbing up with their claws, pushing past you in the darkness. You guys hear the sounds of some sort of kind of you're not even sure what it is, something demonic, something inhuman. You see these huge shapes begin to emerge. You hear the sounds of kind of scrapes and slathering. You hear the sounds of these creatures just tumbling over each other, and bursting up out of the darkness. You see these huge, giant cave demons. These leathery wings just suddenly extended, and they look at you for a second. Maybe they scrape at you or stab, but mostly they just burst up as they were actually trapped. And so they try to burst up through into the fourth seam. I give whoever's there, if you want to try to do something to stop them, you're welcome to. But it will mean that they would turn and attack you, or you can just let them escape.
Oh
man.
Okay. Do I have time to
collapse the ceiling onto them, or to collapse
You could,
the tunnel
but
with the drilling machine?
But you have your own people down there, and the diggers are down there too. So if you collapse, you could absolutely do it, but you'd be collapsing on everybody that's in there.
Can I do
You say everybody.
like
It's just the digger
cult?
creatures. We've gotten out our miners already.
A couple
Or is it
people said that
still
they were
getting out
the
the
miners
mine?
are out, but a couple people said that they were curious, like, and they wanted to check it out. I'm pretty sure Amian and Cletus were on board with figuring out what was in there. So at least a couple of your friends are in there.
Like, how many are we talking here, man?
Would this be like a cult or folklore to know more
You've seen
about
them before, actually.
Mhm.
You've seen them before. These are cave demons. You've seen them for sure.
Oh,
They've
okay.
attacked
Do
you.
we know? Okay, so they are like always hostile, pretty much.
Mhm.
Oh, most certainly. I mean, when you look at them, you can see that they've got. It's really strange. Like, one of them's actually wearing what looks like a miner's helmet, and you can see like the carbide lamp is kind of bouncing around. These wild beams of light that are kind of bouncing off the seam here and there. A few of them have on, you can tell that they have on like the remnants of clothing, but it's been torn and shredded in some way. There's like a half a pant leg goes down and eventually erupts into this hideous looking talon of a foot. And then you can see like a shirt here and there kind of sticking around, but it's strange. They almost have like mining equipment on. But they are most certainly.
Do we know that people can turn into these?
That is not
Have we heard
a
that
known
before?
fact. That is not a known fact. It might be a theory, but it's not a known fact. No.
Okay.
So the question just is: Do you guys just like dodge out of the way and then just let them burst past
I
you?
do.
Double D dies out of the way. Okay.
How many are there, roughly?
You don't know yet.
More than I count.
They're exploding up out of it. At least 4. You don't know if there's any more beneath. Like 4 burst out immediately. There might be more underneath.
I'll make it easy. I'll go grab Amian by the back of the scruff and pull him down.
Yeah, I'll run out.
Nah.
Okay. So then Cletus or Doggant or Louisa, I know what Joe wants to do, so I have an idea for that. But Cletus, Doggant, or Louisa, is there anything you guys want to do as these things are trying to escape the mine?
Doggant, you got any?
I mean, if there's a
Stuff you
chance
do?
to, oh, sorry.
Think about this, because most of my spells are I try and do some slumber on them.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Do you have you have that all ready to go? Let me pull up their sheet, make sure there's nothing that they. So yeah, roll your what's it called? Your distillery test.
Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and dump a bunch of PowerPoints on it so we can get as much out of it, but we'll just go ahead and roll the test and we'll see what happens.
Louisa has nothing to contribute to this other than praying for all of our safety.
Let's see how this works. I'm just going to, well, we'll try and roll it and we'll see how this works.
Mm-hmm.
And we do still have a +2.
Not very exciting. So, but I'm out of bennies. Still a success. It's a success. Yeah.
Okay. So they gotta roll a spirit to
Is there
try.
like a skill or anything I can pick up to give other people bennies?
I can't think of an edge that does, but there might be. Jeremy might know off the top of his head. I don't know off the top of my head.
I don't know.
Let's see.
Just
I think there is a leadership style edge later on.
All right, so they got to roll spirit. Okay.
Yeah, and I got the large, so it should be enough to cover them all.
Okay, so D8s for them. Fail. Pass. Pass. Fail. Pass. Fail. Five's a pass, right? Yeah, five's a pass. Fail. Okay, so 6 of them pass, 4 of them fall. So you see 4 of them just kind of come down. The other 6 are pushing up, and you can see that a few of them kind of halt for a second as they see you guys are starting to try to clog. Double D, Amian, you grabbed Amian, you two are kind of escaping, and they just start to do that sonar, that sonic boom with their voice. And it's like echoing off the walls. All of your ears are kind of you're kind of putting your hands to your ears here and there. Cletus, what did you want to try to do?
Well, hell, if they're willing to do that sort of ignorant stuff, I'm willing to just run out and let them collapse it on top of themselves.
Okay.
Taunt them to scream at us.
So you
Scream
just wanna
more,
run
scream
on up?
louder.
Okay.
Dumbass.
Okay, Louisa, what do you want to do?
Luis is just moving swiftly in the opposite direction.
Okay, so you guys are everyone's kind of like just trying to flee and climb back out as best you can. Some of them are flying, some of them are screeching here and there. And Joe, you're going to try to time it so that you can kind of collapse it right as your people get out and kind of trap whatever's left there. So go ahead and roll repair to see if you can get the time that right and get the thing to do what you want it to do.
Sure. So just straight out repair.
Yeah, just make it repair.
Got 2 left if you need it.
Oh, 5. It's a
5 is
success.
good. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'll roll a little die. I'm going to see how many of these get free. All right. 2 of them managed to burst through before, like with your people, they kind of shoulder past like Cletus or Luis as everyone's kind of climbing out and some of the screeching's happening. And right as everyone clears, they just burst up into the dark sky of the night and they start kind of just flying away at this point. And you see a few of them kind of.
Can I try and make a driving test to impale one on the digger end?
I mean, you probably did as you were kind of grinding it down at that point, right? And then everything else just starts to collapse, and you hear like that echo, and like it's like all your ears are bleeding basically, and you just hear the echo of their screeching below as the seam once more kind of collapses on down. Two of them will get free, but you manage to basically trap 8 more back underneath, probably killing several in the process. And you manage to rescue more than half of the miners. You killed a bunch of guards and Kramer Holt agents, workers of the Galloway, but we'll go ahead and we'll end it there. And we went a little over. Apologies.
There will be consequences.
But I wanted to finish
Really,
so you all
really
get your
cool
advance.
consequences, I bet.
And we'll cover some of that on our way back. But we'll call it there for tonight as we've managed to do that. But that'll be in the Act 4. I think this is Act 4, and we'll start up Act 5 next time, so y'all can get your advances. Why don't we do a quick round table so everyone can get the hell out of here, and we can all go to sleep. So Chuck, tell us about DOK.
Yeah, what do we got? Wednesday, we're back to Alien, All Fear the Ishtar. This will be session 3. Thursday, we technically have a Watercolors and Warriors game on the books. We'll see if it happens. Friday, closest day to Halloween that we're going to be running the DCC adventure, The Web of All Torment. So that'll be fun. Saturday is a double header that Melissa, Dan, and Jeff are in for what is that? It's Tales from the Loop over on Grim Perilous Plays. A bunch of us here playing a game. Bert's running Saturday night on Goodman Games.
Nope,
I think
nope,
that's it.
Nope.
Oh no, that's right. It's not Goodman Games. Bert's running something somewhere.
Okay.
Else.
Jeremy, tell us about the Patreon.
Yeah, and race on Patreon. You get comics, maps, art assets, good stuff.
Fantastic. And then Bert, what are you doing with the Steam Steal and Murder?
Well, this Tuesday is either the conclusion of our Dicey Tales version 2 story arc we're doing in support of the Kickstarter, which I guess it's going to be the first of the month. that it's going to go live. I hope. It's been sitting on the back burner for a few years now. If the creator is not able to make the game, we're going to do a Halloween, just a horror short one shot. Friday, we're going to do another horror one shot, different systems each time. There's a ton of stuff on sale on Drive-Thru RPG right now. I just bought a whole bunch of them, and we're going to give them a try. Different horror systems, simple systems. This Saturday, doing the same thing with some of the crew here, either on Chuck's channel or on mine. We'll figure it out when time comes.
All right, fantastic. And then for us, Friday, it's a Mothership night, so come back for that. We're playing through Gradient Descent some more. Saturday, it's the finale of our short run of Orbital Blues, our Cowboy Bebop inspired game. We are currently doing our Die Hard arc, so come check that out. A few people are crawling through vents right now, trying to be John McClane. And then next Monday, well, the thing is, we kind of ended our Deadlands game unexpectedly, and so we're all next Monday is Halloween. So I think a few of us are gonna try to do some Halloweeny game. I think we might do like a quick Call of Cthulhu, as that's probably what we're gonna be loading up for our next big campaign on Mondays. So we might be doing that. I'll figure out exactly which one later. I have it narrowed down to a couple options. But that's probably the plan for next Monday. And then Holler will be back in 2 weeks. So for more of this as we start up Act 5. But that's it for us. Thank you for everyone hanging out tonight. Thank you for those of you who threw out a bunch of bits. There's a lot of stuff that was coming out tonight. You're all very, very kind. We really, really do appreciate it. Yeah, go follow their stuff. We're going to go ahead and raid somebody as well. So follow the raid and go watch some more stuff. Have a great rest of your week. Good night, everybody. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.